Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. Tro Zones. I created a new indicator that tells me when there's trade possibilities or opportunities on the different zones that I like to trade. This is the indicator here. So we've got the wick zone, the holo zone, the rat zone, the buy zone, the ATR zone, and then the Fibonacci retrace numbers. So let's go through it, and I hope I can do this all in one video. So these brown or orange shaded areas are the ATR zones. I have an indicator that I wrote, the TRO ATR lines HL. And what this does is you can give it an input and you say you want to start looking at ATR2 and you want to end looking at ATR14. And what the indicator will do is it'll run a loop and it'll see what the minimum ATR between 2 and 14, so it'll look at ATR2, ATR3, ATR4, and so on. And it just so happens in this case we had ATR2 was the max and ATR14 was the minimum. And right here you can see the CAD is above the upper ATR zone. And what we do is we take the ATR for the upper zone and we add it to the daily low. So these zones are dynamic. They will move. Let's look over here at the AUD USD. If you notice, I just clicked on here on this button and it changed the chart. And if you look down at the bottom, there's an option here in the indicator to change all the charts. So this way when you're looking at something, you don't have to sit there, change charts and all that other nonsense. You can just click on it and you can see it. So right here you can see that this is in the lower ATR zone, and once again we've got 2 and 14. Let's see. Okay, here we have ATR zone 3 and 2. Here we've got 14 and 4. So I just wanted to show you that the indicator does look at all the ATRs from 2 to 14 or for however you want to set it. And so let's go back here because we've got dollar Canadian is outside of the ATR zone, and you can see using yesterday's daily bar, that's what this 1 stands for here, is D1, we can see where price is in the Fibonacci retrace. So you can see it's at 197, and I always do low as 0, high as 100. So if you were to look, let's see if I can find it, the Fibonacci retrace here, you can see where price is in relation to yesterday's fib numbers. And right here, these are the fib numbers corresponding to yesterday's daily candle. So I know this is a lot, but this tells you, hey, this sucker's almost doubled. So let's go back to the zone. And so that's how you use the fib number. So if you like to trade fibs and the retraces or know when to exit, this is what you use. Okay, we've already gone over ATR. And usually what you look for here is with the ATR, it's 2 things. If you're in the trade from below it and it's going up, once it gets in the zone, you start looking for retraces. And in this case, it went past the zone. So if you've already entered the trade, when it gets in the zone, this is when you want to look to exit, because chances are it's going to reverse. So that covers the fib and the ATR. And you saw we just had this one light up here. And the AUD is in the lower, or I guess this was the one that lit up. You can see here it entered the zone and went back out. Now, buy zone. So LAZ, let me just finish up here. LAZ is the lower ATR zone. The greater than lets you know it's greater than the upper. A less than would be lower than the lower. So moving on, the buy zone. You can see here we've got EUR, JPY is near the buy zone. It's in the short zone. Daily buy, negative means short, positive means long. So you can see here it's within 5 pips of today's open. So you look to go short here if you like to do the buy zone trades. And let me find the, and here we see it here. This is the buy zone. So we're looking at, in this case, I've got my indicator set at 8 and 10. But I believe on the other indicator, I have it set for 5. So we can come in here, go to the TRO buy zone, and I think I had half the buy zone. So right here, you can see it's in the short zone. And let's see if we spread out the chart. Now, if you notice, I just clicked on the little TRO chart change period indicator instead of having to right click or put the toolbar up here. So that comes in handy sometimes. So let's go back here. That's the buy zone. The rat zone. We've got the Swiss franc in the upper rat zone. Now, the rat zone is within 20 pips of the daily extreme, so it would be high minus close is 16, so when high minus close is above 20, it's out of the rat zone, out of the upper rat zone. Okay, and for the lower rat zone, let's look here. It's within 20 pips of the low. And somewhere over here, here's the rat zone. And this is simply the TRO rat zone indicator. And it has a little gauge here. And it tells you what to do on the biases. And it tells you here, it's saying wait. So once again, here we have the lower rat zone and the upper rat zone. So that's the rat zone. Then we have the holo zone, or highest open, lowest open, and we've got AUD, USD there. And so what we're looking at H1 highest and lowest opens, and you can see here the H1 open low is at 75.56, and it's sitting here. Now you wouldn't want to take the trade on a red candle, but you can see here on the M5 it's a green candle. So we don't have anything in the holo zone in the upper. Now this is the holo zone indicator. This is the TRO 2016 holo zone. And you see I've changed charts. Now this is also an indicator to change chart period, and I've made it so you can see the candle colors on here. It's just like the other one, except the TRO candle color or multimeter candle color, what that does is it'll tell you how many in a row. But some people don't use that, and that's okay. But you can see here we are in the lower holo zone. So what this indicator also does is the setup, it'll say you're here. Chances are if you did max lot size, you're only risking a small percentage based on the distance between here and here, which would be your stop, and it's approximate. So you can go in buy as many lots as you possibly can. When it comes out of that zone, you can make money. And you can see here the risk is low. You don't have to do that, but that's how I set up this indicator, to take massive profits and drain the banks. Okay, so that's the holo zone. And we have the wick zone. And Okay, this is the holo. Rat. That's the fibs. You can see the AUD really got crushed today. And here's the holo. And what we were looking at, I got lost here. This is funny. We're actually looking at the wick zone indicator. Okay, you can see here that the AUD USD cut through the wick zone and dropped like a rock. Let's see. We've got some upper CAD. In the wick zone indicator. Went through the upper zone. And once again, I also have the change chart indicator here. This one's set to false. As you can see here, I just changed the chart, but none of these others came. And so that's just an input on that indicator. And also, with the TRO change chart period indicator, in case you don't want to see the candle colors, you can turn it off and it'll go back to normal. And what you have to do though is make sure your colors will show up. You don't want to have white on white, otherwise you can't see what the period is. So you can see we're on the H1. We click it, then that one will turn that color. So those are the indicators. Once again, the wick zone will tell you, just like the holo zone, when to trade, except this one won't give you the massive or max lots. This will, based on your inputs, and it will use a live account, so it'll know your account balance. You can tell it what you want to risk, and it'll calculate your lot size for you. And I'm about running out of time here. I usually make videos about 15 minutes, and we're already at 12 and a half. So once again, for me, I like using this indicator, so now I can just sit back and see where my trade opportunities are, rather than have to look at a bunch of different charts or actually look at a bunch of different gauges and figure out, okay, do I want to take that trade or not? So with the dollar Canadian, what I'd probably do right now is I'm going to see if I can get another holo trade out of it, because I got a couple holo trades out of it earlier before I started this video. So we're past the ATR zone, we're in the upper rat zone, and we're above the previous day's high. That's what the greater means, and this would mean you're below the previous day's low. And there's also, in this indicator, for some of these I've added where you can also do weekly and monthly. But the order of precedence or priority is actually, I'm going to show you daily first, then weekly, then monthly. Because I think what I will probably do is put a switch in there, so if you want to turn off the daily and weekly and you only look at the monthly, the indicator will do that. Except some of these don't really make sense. Like the rat zone, I guess if you want to trade 20 pips off the bottom, it would probably be the same as the daily, so it's not much different. Okay, fellow traders, that wraps it up. You'll probably have questions. You can email, actually you can post them. You know where I post my code, or you can put your questions in the YouTube comment section. And once again, fellow traders, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. Go out there and drain the banks. TheRumpledOne signing off.